Ghostbusters trailer came out a couple days ago.
Uh-huh.
This is something people are very excited about. We've been pretty excited about it. It's been rumored that there's been going to be a new Ghostbusters movie.
Like a sequel, actually.
Like an actual, let's close out the series. I don't know if it'll close out the series.
But an actual,
another Ghostbuster 2.
3.
What happens after Ghostbusters 2?
Right.
Yeah, that's been in the rumors we've been talking about. So the trailer came out the other day.
Yeah.
That was pretty sweet.
It actually looked pretty good.
I thought it was good. I have some critiques.
Okay.
Like I always do on...
Well, I have way higher hopes for it than I did the Ghostbusters, reboot.
Sure. I didn't see that because I frankly saw the trailer and said, I don't need to see that.
Yeah, it was everything you would think the trailer showed. It was just it's kind of just playing up a lot of nostalgia factor with no actual original ideas. I know people were up in arms that it was all female cast and stuff. I didn't really care about that, or even that there was a reboot in general. It was just that the jokes were flat. The nostalgia stuff just didn't land, and
I didn't think the trailer pulled me in at all. And
yeah,
frankly,
the trailer was
dumb.
dumb.
I loved Ghostbusters like everyone does, and
yeah,
loved it so much that I don't think I was willing to want to see that again.
Yeah, it just was unnecessary.
So I saw this trailer drop, and I was like, oh, cool, let's check it out. And I check it out, and I to be still fair, I do have that same type of is this gonna ruin it for me? But seeing the trailer, I didn't feel like that necessarily it was going to ruin it for me. I feel like this trailer was a really cool moment to show us what happened after the Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
Because number 2,
it's called Afterlife, so.
Right. And number 2, shows us the Ghostbusters and shows the world, and they go deeper into it.
Yep.
And deeper than Ghostbusters 1, and and you're just like, oh yeah, this is really fun, really entertaining, and again a sequel but in that film they had made it. They're this big organization now. I don't know if they were really big, but they were a growing. They were a valid organization.
They were a bigger organization in the first one. They grew to popularity.
Then the second one?
No, in the first one they did.
No, but in the second one, they already were established.
They were established.
They didn't have established themselves. They were already the Ghostbusters. They're there. And you watch the film play out, and then the film ends, and you're like, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It has a lot of...
Wasn't as good, but it was fun.
Wasn't as good, and it felt like... sometimes you felt like it was repeating the first one at times. But it was still a good film, and then, time went on, and Ghostbusters just wasn't relevant anymore, and now they're bringing it back, and I think it's interesting how they're choosing to bring it back. That time has ticked on.
Yep.
We're not picking up where we left off. The trailer calls out 30 years. It said there hasn't been a ghost sighting in 30 years.
Well, and the girl talks about her grandfather and how he died.
Right?
So there's
not how he dies, but he's dead.
No, just that he's dead.
Left
so there's
all
a generation
stuff,
removed,
which is cool.
Yep.
And I think it's kind of cool to see that there's a connection. We don't know who her grandfather is, but obviously a Ghostbuster.
I'm going to say it's Egon because she kind of looks like him.
For sure, totally. And I think what a great way to pay homage to Harold Ramis, with him being dead.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. Because you have to do it. You can't just pretend like he disappeared.
Yeah.
You obviously can't be insensitive and make Harold Ramis a ghost. So I think it's great. He passed on. He did his job as a Ghostbuster, and I also love that that line where they said we haven't had a ghost sighting in 30 years. It really established that the Ghostbusters, after 2, they continued.
Yeah.
And they continued to capture their ghosts. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
So I think it's fun, but now we get to find out what happened to all these ghosts.
Right.
Because, what do you do with these disposal traps?
Right.
What do you do with
these? Well, when they pulled the trap out, I was like, oh, that's cool. They're going to bring it back. And
that was the premise of 2, right?
Yeah.
They shut down the power and all the ghosts escape, right? And you're like, oh, man, so 30 years of ghosts. What do you do with them? And so I think we're going to get they buried them underground, apparently.
So I want to talk a little bit about how we think it might go.
Sure.
As far as the actual trailer goes, I actually liked it quite a bit because it actually felt like a Ghostbusters film. The reboot felt like, when I watched the trailer, the reboot felt like it was Ghostbusters in name only.
Okay.
This trailer felt like, yes, there's more modern
What made
filmmaking
it feel
techniques.
like a Ghostbusters film, other than the gadgets?
I think the pacing, I feel like the tone of it, even though it is a little more modern, obviously tone and feel, it's not so 80s, 90s.
Sure.
But I do think part of it is the way they handled the gadgets. They looked like the old gadgets.
Yeah, the car was great.
In the reboot, they like updated them and made them like all like photon blasty, and it was
they tried to explain the world too much.
Yeah,
a
lot too much.
Funny how we keep seeing this in cinema. No, but I will say that's probably my one critique about the trailer.
Oh,
is that like when you say it feels like Ghostbusters, to me I don't know what that means. Like
sure.
I don't know what makes something feel like Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
To me it's, Dan Aykroyd, Bill Murray, and Harold Ramis. Like that's Ghostbusters. But this, to me, my biggest hang up, I think, like watching this trailer feels like another take on where modern cinema has taken us in the past, I would say, since Super 8.
Sure.
Since we revisited the kid adventure films.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right? We're seeing Stranger Things, Super 8,
It.
And we're seeing these really strong casts of children, which is great. I love that because I think seeing kids who can act really well is really fun because it reminds you of like nostalgia of being a kid and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It takes you back to those days of your mysteries and your adventures that you'd go on as a kid. I think that's good.
Instead of watching Phantom Menace and being like, this needs to end.
But that type of trope puts a thought into my mind of like, is this going to be the thing we're going to be watching now in blockbuster films for the next 10 years? Like, is this
like the new thing?
The new thing? I mean, did Stranger Things do it so well that now executives are like, well, we have to have children in it?
It has to be like a kid horror film.
Now, with that being said, I think I'm not turned off to seeing this film because of the separation of time. Because that's what
explains it, and it's what the whole film's about.
It's not that they're even explaining it; they just let it happen.
Yeah,
like they're not like, oh, we had to wait 30 years and da da da. For some reason, it's not about the plot.
30 years has gone by.
30 years has gone by. The Ghostbusters did their job.
Yeah,
they died. We think one of them who died will be coming back.
So
I'm very confident that Dan Aykroyd will be in this film.
Yeah,
as a living being person. We haven't seen him, but I'm sure he'll be there.
Because they're going to have like a mentor moment. And the only one that makes sense to still be around is Dan Aykroyd.
To pass the torch.
Yep.
Well, Bill Murray could be.
Well, so I remember a long, long time ago, before the Ghostbusters reboot even was in talks, there was talks of a Ghostbusters 3, and the script had been written.
And this was when Harold Ramis was still alive, and he was still trying to convince Bill Murray to come back.
Yeah, he was still... Harold Ramis and Dan Aykroyd were still trying to convince him to do a Ghostbusters 3.
Yeah.
And he did not want to.
Right.
He just didn't think it was needed. He didn't want to do it, I guess. But he said there was a addendum to it. He said he will do Ghostbusters 3 if in the first 10 minutes of it he dies, and then the rest of the film he's a ghost.
That's great. Now, I think this could be really interesting. This is an interesting theory, because let's just superimpose the idea that Bill Murray is a ghost.
Yep.
And what can we do with this character now? Well, as a ghost, you can have him, through exposition, tell us everything about the past.
Yeah, he's like a built-in mentor, and a really funny one.
Well, or maybe he's the built-in villain. Maybe he's the
maybe
he's the reason that Egon died.
Okay, possibly, but I don't think he's going to be the villain.
Well, maybe not a villain, but maybe he's the catalyst link. Like maybe he's the, he could be a mentor character.
Yep.
But I think Dan Aykroyd's probably going to play that a little bit more.
Oh, for sure.
I'm thinking he'll be the living being, like, don't cross the streams. He's going to do that in the film. But I think Bill Murray could come back as a really comedic, like, revelation probably around midpoint of the film.
Yeah.
Turning point of the film where you're like, wait, he's been dead? Or maybe he'll show up earlier. Maybe he'll be inciting incident, which could be really cool, because then you get to live with Bill Murray as a ghost, but then you have to think to yourself, what would Bill Murray do? What was his character's name in Ghostbusters? I don't remember.
Yeah,
but thinking about his character in Ghostbusters and how he was this really intelligent, he was a physicist, right? He was a genius. He was this really intelligent, reckless genius now who is a ghost with
He was kind
invincibility.
of a dirtbag, though.
But he was a dirtbag, but he was smart, and he was just a goof. He would do whatever. He was reckless.
Yeah.
He would do what he needed to do, especially like the scene, where they mess up the ballroom and, all right, so let's talk business. This is going to cost you $4 big. Well, this is highway robbery. I'm not going to pay that. Okay, well, we'll be happy to put these back. No. And so he uses these like really, I don't want to say they're not ruthless. They're just really just funny and like shticky type of moments through Ghostbusters 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And we're going to see that again, hopefully in ghost form. And
that would be awesome.
I mean, come on, that'd be so great.
I really hope that happens.
So I also kind of hope that Rick Moranis shows up. Is he still alive?
Yes, but he has basically like completely gone away from acting. He hasn't acted in years and years and years.
If he doesn't show up, I'm not gonna be upset, but I just love Rick Moranis in Ghostbusters, and like it's just he was hilarious. Funny. He's just such a funny, iconic like dork character that like just I would think it would be great if like they brought him back and you find out he's been the accountant for the Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
He worked with them, and that's how he got worked in.
Well, so I'm wondering who the villain's gonna be, because
it's got to be Gozer, man.
It could,
but then
you
the question
see the
is,
dog in the trailer, like you do see that, like Gozer's like pets or whatever.
Here's the question: You're gonna feel cheated if it's not Gozer. If, for example, it's been 30 years, we fought all these ghosts. There were ghosts that were worse than Gozer.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, but we don't know anything about him. But you could write it so it could be really fun. But I think there's a tight line to walk there of like maybe you'll feel cheated or like, well, why aren't we watching Gozer? Or maybe you're going to see like Gozer became the king of the ghosts.
Yeah.
In this nether realm where they've been stored for 30 years.
I was going to say, I kind of hope it's not Gozer.
Oh, really?
Because in the first one, we had Gozer.
Yeah,
and the story played out.
Right.
And then
Fair
in
enough.
The second one, we had Vigo.
And it was kind of absolute when they destroyed him.
Yeah, I would almost feel cheaped out if Gozer came back, because that would be like, oh, they didn't take care of him.
That's a good point. And it's kind of weak writing. You're saying, like, what is this?
I think it could be something stronger.
I think
like
it should
something
be Bill
that
Murray.
was more.
He should be Bill Murray,
It could be
man.
something that was more like dormant or something other than Gozer.
What if, story time with Matt, what if Bill Murray's character dies? He becomes a ghost. He was rambunctious. Egon and Dan Aykroyd, they had to do the right thing. I can only remember Egon's character name, but whatever.
Egon, Venkman, and
Venkman
Stans.
was Bill Murray.
Yeah, and Stans was
Dan Aykroyd. So
and then there was Winston too.
Well, Winston too. Yeah, I wonder if Winston will show back up.
Yeah, I wonder too, because he was
kind of cool.
I don't see any reason for him to be dead.
But what if Bill Murray's character, he dies and they had to do the right thing because he was being like rambunctious and like doing his thing. He's like, this is great being dead. I'm a ghost. And they put him in a cage. He goes there and he learns that what we're doing to these ghosts is not right. And so now he's like, you got to let us out. And that's his whole mission, to break out of ghost limbo.
Like Ghost Rebellion.
Yeah, it's a ghost
all
rebellion.
All led by Bill Murray's character.
You were all wrong. You can't do this to us.
Weird,
and he's like leading the charge in this like social justice warrior, like the ghosts will lead the way.
No,
that would be funny.
I feel like his character is way too much of a wise ass to care about any of that.
Him. But maybe he got a spirit and a soul in the afterlife.
It is called Afterlife. No.
It's funny to daydream. It's interesting to think about. But
no, I think it's cool that it's happening, and I think it's cool that it's happening under the like sequels. Like it's Ghostbusters 3.
It's a continuation.
Yeah.
It's the same timeline. It's the same lineage.
Because I think it's important that it's not just called Ghostbusters Afterlife. It's called Ghostbusters 3: Afterlife.
Yeah, it's an actual
it's an actual sequel.
The other thing that stood out in the trailer that I did not like is that the town looks too much like Derry in it.
Yeah, okay. I buy that.
They had the water tower. They got small town. Midwest
Finn Wolfhard's
American.
in it.
Well, fair enough. But it's just like, come on, like you're showing your cards. You're playing to what the studios want or think audiences want.
Right.
And they want another kid adventure film like The Goonies. It's
Yeah.
like, which, fine. Like, I'm not really upset. Like, I loved it in It, Chapter 1. I loved it, I definitely loved it in Super 8.
Yeah.
Thought it was great. But, it's kind of like, I feel like they're putting the stress test to the idea of the all children cast, E.T. Goonies feel.
Well, so
Spielberg-esque feel.
Here's what could be a fun thing, though, because here's what I think people haven't done that the Goonies did do. Was because all the kid adventure films, they're all kids. But in the Goonies, there was like 2 or 3 much older kids.
Right.
And they were still kids.
Right.
But in this film, I'm not led to believe that Paul Rudd won't be one of the new Ghostbusters.
Oh, no, he's definitely one of the new Ghostbusters.
Which would be funny. Like, a couple kids and an adult, like, they're all
well, especially,
the new,
because it's like, what are we going to do, role models here? Be great.
Well, and Paul Rudd is really funny,
Absolutely.
and I think he could be a really good Ghostbuster
and Seth
from
Rogen
a comedy-wise.
Yeah,
and, right. Well, I was like, I know that I think the writing will be good because Jason Reitman wrote it.
Sure.
Or is directing it at least, and he did, Juno and Thank You for Smoking and Up in the Air. So, like, he has a good history, a good track record of good comedy writing. So,
some Office episodes, things like that.
Yeah, he did some Office episodes and SNL. So it's like, I'm excited from that.
I don't. That trailer did not indicate anything to me that would say this will be a bad movie.
Yeah, right. And I think that's ultimately what I'm excited about.
We've seen a lot of trailers over the past couple of months that have where I'm like, I'm not going to go see that.
No,
it's a total pass.
Yeah,
but this
pass.
But this, I'm like, if I can find some time to do it, I'm definitely going to go see this.
Yeah. It's not like Black Widow that looks like useless. It's not like Star Wars. There's like not
Sleep.
Super excited, but I'm going to see it because I want to see the trilogy. This is like, oh, this actually looks dope. And I just hope that it's not an It 2 moment.
I don't think it will be.
No, because it's so far removed.
And that's just it, too. It's like, how do you do a reboot sequel? Like, how do you re-energize an old franchise?
As the sequel.
And I think
Mad Max Fury Road. That's how you do it.
I think you let time play on long enough.
Right.
In this type of a situation, it's like time has passed, generations have died, new generations are coming, let it happen. Let us experience a new adventure in the Ghostbusters world.
I like it because where the reboot seemed like it was heavily basing all of the excitement factor on nostalgia and then just hoping that you also think it's funny, which it wasn't. This one seems more like it's not nostalgia. The story makes sense as to why they'd be revisiting these old gadgets.
Not to beat up on the remake.
No, let's beat up on it.
Okay, I haven't seen it, so I can't really beat up on it.
I can validate.
But hearing you talk about it, like, saying that they were trying to make the jokes funny and they weren't.
Yeah.
That's not, to me, what Ghostbusters was. Yes, a comedy, but not funny, because that's a genius of Harold Ramis's writing.
Yeah.
He wrote in a way that was funny,
great
opportunities, great timing for jokes.
But it wasn't always jokey.
But it wasn't shticky to be a joke.
And the Ghostbusters remake was shticky.
This was not a sitcom.
Right.
Where we need a joke every 15 seconds.
This isn't Guardians of the Galaxy.
And it was a world about these guys, these scientists who figure out how to capture ghosts.
But they were like wisecrackers, and they smoked cigarettes and like didn't care about a lot
because they were geniuses who didn't want to assimilate or to assimilate to their academic
They were doing
friends.
like paranormal researching, and
they were
weird.
They
were super smart, but also outcasts.
Yeah, like no one in their academic circles accepted them as peers,
right?
Even though they were bigger geniuses than them,
right?
And so it's like that worked. They were the outcasts who did what they wanted to do,
right?
And they didn't really care, and they were successful at it. Yep. And I think this could be good because that's going to show, and it's interesting. Paul Rudd looks like he's a science teacher in it, so it's obviously, he's a genius too,
right?
In his own right,
maybe,
right. He has enough background of the science and the technology to maybe he doesn't fully understand it, but his mind is of a space where, as a character, we'll be able to believe when he becomes a a Ghostbuster that, okay, plausibly he could be this.
Well, so he knows about the Ghostbusters, clearly, because when he pulls out the trap, he says, "Oh, cool replica."
Well, but
so he has to know what it is.
But in 2, at that time of the film, the Ghostbusters had a whole merchandise department.
Oh, totally.
You know, people were wearing the T-shirt. Like, that film took the world of a movie and actually merchandised it in real life as well as in the movie.
Yeah, right.
Right? And so, like, this, what a cool replica.
Yeah.
It's like, probably as a kid, he played with a ghost capture device.
Right.
He's like, what a cool, wow, this is a really great replica. And
right.
Like,
and you'll probably see a little bit of that
and then
story.
you see Bill Murray's head pop out of it.
Well, that's what I'm hoping, is that Bill Murray's ghost is in that trap. Because it glows a little bit. There's something in there.
And I hope he's in there with Gozer. Not Gozer, with, what is the green? The nasty green? Slimer. Hope he's in there with Slimer and the cream puff guy.
It is funny how Slimer became such a huge mascot for Ghostbusters, but he's in it once. He was in the first movie.
In the first one. Yeah. I mean, but he was like...
He was a funny moment.
A very believable... Like, he was the iconic ghost.
Yeah.
Right? Like...
Eating everything.
Yeah.
Gross.
Yeah. He was like the ghost you could do the comedy with.
Yeah.
Which was just fantastic. But anyway, no, I'm pretty excited about it. I think it'll be a great little film.
It'll be a great
It'll be a great little movie.
Great little romp into cinema.
Yeah, so I'll just end it like this. I'm pretty excited about it. I saw it. It came out on Monday. I watched it right away when it showed up on my feed. Definitely way more excited for this movie than I was for the remake when I saw that trailer.
You didn't see it.
I didn't see it because I saw the trailer and I said, I don't need to see that. But this one, I'm definitely going to go see.
Yeah.
So
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Let us know if you're excited for the Ghostbusters film, if you're going to see it. Tell us if you think Bill Murray's a ghost or not, because... I don't know if he's going to be, but I sure hope he will be.
He's a ghost. He's got to be.
He's got to be.
What if they don't have any of the original cast?
That'd be kind of a bummer. That'd be a bummer.
That'd be a bummer.
So,
don't do that.